Welcome, everybody. All previous guests of the show. I am so excited to do this.
We are excited too for
Yeah, we're happy to be here.
2026.
Been looking forward to this for weeks.
This is gonna be great.
Same here.
All right, I'm just gonna open. What are some of the things that most surprised you in SEO and digital marketing in this last year in 2025? I can start if you guys need time to think about it because I have a list.
I have a list too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the geo campaign of disinformation that you covered, and seeing how much spam, how many subreddits, X posts, the links, and it's actually super clever, right? A lot of it's pretty good, right? They've really tuned into the fact that people think LLMs are search engines, that they pick they have their own criteria for picking things. They've definitely tuned into the CMOs, right? It's been very clever, and it's been on a phenomenal scale. I've counted probably 200 logos, and I just quit. People that it varies from people who know a lot to people who know nothing, right? Like it was vibe coded by their puppy or hamster. I'm just surprised at the enormous amount of scale. Like I don't know if they're getting advised by like Tony Robbins and their VC company, but they are like gung ho at like SEO is dead, it's bullshit, it's all over. I'm seeing about 100 posts a day on Reddit alone that are aimed at like pumping geo full of nonsense. It's like it makes all the other SEO myths look non-existent.
It is really crazy, and it's crazy that it's a actual disinformation campaign because I had that on my list. It's like I have been surprised this year how many people just don't understand that search engine optimization and like generative engine optimization are pretty much the same thing. And to me, it seems very obvious. It's like you use ChatGPT and you actually see it searching the web. You use Perplexity and you see it searching the web. How do you not understand that these are the same things?
Everything. You can't ask Perplexity the time without it going to Google, right? It's just like, and the other thing is what's also perplexing. Sorry, see what I did there? Is that all of the spam that they're using. So they're using a lot of robo platforms, right? So they've got accounts that are warmed up. They're scanning different conversations or different platforms that have been set up just for them to post into. They're all using LLMs to write the content, and they're all based around EAT, which is so interesting. And Reddit systems are catching up a lot, right? I have a couple of small subs about like expert SEO and so on. And if you look at like Reddit catching some of that spam, it's all got EAT in it. I'm not saying it's catching it because there's EAT in it, which is unfortunate because it should, but it's catching it. It's detecting that it's LLM written, basically.
And even for me, I have gotten like so many messages on LinkedIn where people are trying to reach out to ask for like a partnership. And in this year, I've been getting like maybe 3-4 every week. Geo tools, AI SEO tools who are like, we want to do partnership with you. And I keep telling them that I'm not even like big enough account. Like I don't have much following, but they are like one mention, like it means something when it's like LLMs. So if they can get a LinkedIn post from me, a X post from me, a Threads post from me, that is like 3 chances of them getting like mentioned in different LLMs. So they are trying everything to make it seem like AI SEO is a big thing, while I don't think so.
And you know what's disappointing? It's that there's a lot of SEOs out there who for the past like 4 or 5 years have been saying we should do SEO this way, but now they're saying SEO is completely different to AI SEO, and they're promoting the tactics of like GEO and AEO, which goes against some of the stuff they've been saying, again, like I said, for the past 4 or 5 years, especially when it comes to creating content. So maybe around fan out queries, like you don't need to make content. You don't need to make a page for every single fan out. And some of these platforms that we're seeing, yes, they've got an AI visibility tracker built in or prompt watch or whatever you want to call it. But really they're just content creation machines. Like that's the way they're heading. So there's a famous one going with their workflows. There's another tool that the guy is always in my mentions asking me to book a demo when I criticize them, but really they just help create, they're just content creation machines. they're not like, what are they doing for AI SEO? Not a lot. Like they're going to do more damage for your actual SEO in the long term. So yeah.
Naive
I am
optimism that some of them have is so interesting. Like you see like the founder going on LinkedIn and you'd swear that they've just discovered AI, right? Like they're
Yeah.
so like we got $1 million in funding and we're so souped up, and it's like your tool just like scrapes AI. Let's
Yeah.
be honest about it here.
One of them has so if you go on their customer stories, they have a customer story where our client signed a 100K deal after working with us through ChatGPT. Well, great. Like I work for companies where, we sign deals worth the multiple hundreds of thousands without even doing any GEO, just through regular SEO. But you don't see me going on LinkedIn and saying, look, I did this amazing thing for GEO, I did this amazing thing, and we got this client. So I think, like David, you mentioned earlier, like they're going after the CMOs, they're going after the VPs, the decision makers who might not know the ins and outs of SEO, and they're just putting a really good marketing spin, which is good for them. Good for them. They're putting a really good marketing spin on what they're selling, and they're just trying to repackage and relabel a whole industry through, by just renaming what SEO is. And unfortunately, there's a bunch of SEOs who are also jumping on that bandwagon because they see dollar signs, and now we've just amplified into this thing that we're in now, which is just a sea of disinformation.
One
and
year
also
from now,
like
do you think? 1 year from now, do you think the disinformation is going to be even crazier? Do you think more people are going to be falling for this, or do you think people will start realizing SEO and geo are like the same things?
People will fall for it. I get messages like every couple of days saying that I want an AI SEO strategy. So press releases. So you remember my press release test. So I did one where I have the best GEO agency in Vancouver. My Vancouver-based agency that's, not really a thing is offering AI SEO services. I just got a message the other day saying, I want my products to be number one in ChatGPT. I want ChatGPT shopping on my website. I want to make sure my website shows up. What do I need to do for GEO? And it's like, wait, what do I tell this guy? Like, I got to write him a long email saying that, don't worry about it. Do regular SEO and we'll go from there. So. I think this disinformation, this confusion is just going to it's just going to increase.
This method of marketing is so effective, I had to make sure it wasn't against Google's rules before I kept doing it. It's a form of SEO I call compact keywords. Whereas most SEO focuses on putting up articles to answer questions how, what, when, compact keywords focuses on putting up dozens of pages that sell to searchers who are actually looking to buy. These pages rank on Google and convert so much better than normal that when I discovered this years ago, I couldn't believe this was allowed. It's less work too. The average compact keywords page is only 415 words. Compact Keywords is a 13-hour deep course on getting sales with SEO. A customer recently said, "Each lesson is dense with information. You're giving years worth of experience boiled down into 15 to 30-minute lessons with no filler or fluff. I feel like I'm gaining a new superpower." Compact Keywords is about setting up an SEO funnel that brings you sales for years and years and years. It works with AI, it's less work than traditional SEO, and it makes way more money. You can get it now at compactkeywords.com. Back to the podcast.
And even I was so surprised to see that all these AI SEO tools, they came into the market in 2024 and 2025. And just 1 year before that, in September 2023, when Google rolled out like this helpful content update, all the advice in the SEO industry, from someone who is starting out to someone who has been doing SEO for 3-4 years to someone who is like really known person, goes to all these SEO conferences, their advice was like, you need to have less number of pages. You need to make sure that each page is a helpful page. And now all those people, like all those really known names who were saying that you got hit because you went and created like too many pages targeting each keyword. And now the same people are promoting these AI SEO tools, which are saying exactly that you just create like as many pages as possible. So there is a lot of like conflict going on around now. Like even whenever someone is reaching out to me, they ask like they went to these conferences, because people who reach out to me, they are like brand manager or marketing specialists or like CMOs. They are like, we went to this conference and this person said so and so, and I'm like, okay, let me see if they have slides up for like 2023 or 2022, and I will share their slides from that year, and you will make a decision on your own by comparing their slides from like 2023 to 2025. And then they are like, oh, so in 2023 they were recommending that you need to have less number of pages, you need to make sure that you're not using much AI. And this year they are saying that use this tool, which is saying create as many pages as possible, use AI generated content, and do like this mix up of AI versus human kind of thing. And then I'm like, the advice has shifted like totally opposite compared to 2023, where when Google did this like big helpful content update.
I see this big shift. I don't know if you guys see it where, and I speak a lot about this on X, is I've worked with a lot of CMOs at companies that are Google dependent, right? So I like to work at companies where like 90% of their leads are coming from Google. And even when I was like a full-time employee, I had CMOs who were like, Google's going to die next year. It's going away. And I'm talking about like 10 years ago, right? And I think that one of the clever messaging things they've done, which I think is good learning for SEOs, is that they've really appealed to CMOs and brand marketers and said, like, LLMs will recognize your hard work, right? If you do your brand messaging and you do your brand stuff, it really loves PR, and they've completely mirrored it to what those CMOs automatically love. I think that's been really effective. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I agree with that, especially when it comes to PR, because I think traditionally CMOs, I don't think they know how to attribute PR properly. Not just CMOs, I think marketing teams in general. Like, I've never worked in a team where they've been able to say in the past, or like when I join a new team, it's like, oh, we had a very successful PR agency. But I think now with the advent of like GEO, AI SEO, there's an actual place for PR where I think the brand marketers, the CMOs, the executives, they can actually put a price tag and attribution to PR. And I think that's one of the reasons. We're seeing what we are seeing. But even with PR, I think going into next year now, I think these CMOs and these VPs, they're going to actually ask, how is this moving the needle within AI search? And they're going to see it's not. So I don't know about you guys, but from what I'm seeing, AI traffic is kind of flatlining. Maybe I'm doing a bad job, maybe I'm not, but I'm seeing AI traffic flatline. I don't think it's gonna, go up dramatically next year. But what I'm also seeing is the engagement rates. So the time on site from AI tools, that's also now pretty much on par with organic for me. So I think initially, when all these AI tools were blowing up, it was because people were saying, oh, our conversion's gone up like something 100%. It's because the baseline was so low. But now everyone's baseline has kind of been set. And I think month over month, they won't be able to show that attribution. So I think, going into next year, I think people actually are going to ask more questions of these GEO tactics. They're going to ask more questions to PR agencies, like, what are you doing to move the needle? And I don't think they're going to have answers because, like we talked about, the foundation that they have, it's SEO, but they haven't sold their services based on that foundation.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, like, I think the simple basic stuff is not getting promoted enough. So OpenAI have this like feed sharing program where if you're like an e-commerce brand, you can just fill a form, and they will reach out to you to ask to share your feeds, product data, the same that you do in Google Merchant Center with OpenAI. And this simple thing is not getting promoted enough. Like whenever any brand is reaching out to me, I just ask them, have you submitted the form already? Or did you try to reach out to OpenAI Australia or OpenAI UK and ask them that you are such a big retailer, OpenAI already has a program and we want to collaborate with you on that? And they are like, no, we have not done this. And I'm like, this is the basic step to AI SEO. This is like AI SEO 101 that you need to do, rather than like thinking about like buying a geo tool or maybe doing a scaled content or something like that. So I think these simple things are not getting promoted enough, where CMOs and brand managers, they don't even know that there is a form where they can directly collaborate with OpenAI and they can do the product data sharing.
Speaking of the flatlining in traffic, Harpreet, I've seen that as well. I've also noticed that ChatGPT traffic coming down while we're also seeing mentions going up. So if we're tracking in SEMrush or Profound or whatever, my sort of like paper napkin hypothesis is that ChatGPT caches a lot more and does a lot less QFOs in real time, whereas Perplexity, it's just constantly doing it. I wanted to see if you and Gagan had seen anything around that. Like, do you think ChatGPT caches more and therefore it gives you less links to click out on? And that's why maybe like September, October traffic from ChatGPT was going up, and then I'm seeing it come down November, December. Is that something you guys are seeing? Or
Yeah. I think ChatGPT is caching way more compared to Perplexity, because if you search like anything which is recent, Perplexity is really, really good in that compared to ChatGPT. So I feel like ChatGPT is not like want to try to be like as updated as possible, but Perplexity is doing it really, really well. So I think that might be impacting it. And also like Google is caching AI overviews and AI mode answers a lot right now. Like if you search something today and you see the same answer getting repeated again and again. So I feel like over time these guys have to cache, because they cannot like do generation for each person who is doing the same query, because it just adds up to a lot of amount in terms of the server cost and the energy that they need to spend.
Yeah, I would agree. And it is something, yeah, I'm thinking about it. It is something I'm seeing. But I also think like just attribution in general. So I know from the mobile app we still don't get a UTM, right? So there's the dark side there. But then in B2B, so I work with a lot of B2B, I don't think they're making searches with ChatGPT mobile. I just think that there's many reasons that I think traffic, it's not going to grow the way people thought it's going to grow. And actually, not to dump on them some more, but there's a tool, and they said that, at the rate ChatGPT is growing, it's going to overtake Google traffic sometime mid 2026. Like every time I see that graph, I'm like, come on,
Yeah.
man. Like you can't. Why are you guys even posting that? Like senior people have shared that with me, and I'm like, I don't say it to them, but if they see this, they'll see this. Like you got to kind of think for yourself. Like no, ChatGPT is not going to overtake Google traffic in 2026. And even the other day,
it's confirmation bias. It's
Yeah.
confirmation bias. They want it to happen,
yeah,
right?
but even the
Yeah.
other day, SimilarWeb, they were posting their like November statistics, and they were like the top used AI chatbots, and ChatGPT was number one. There were like 1 billion visits. This is the US only. And then I just Googled, okay, how many visits does Google get from the US? 25 billion. And worldwide, Google's 100 billion, but they left that out. But actually, Google's AI overviews and AI mode probably has more usage than, the top 3 chatbots on their list combined. So when we talk
Yeah.
about GEO and AI SEO, I think the industry should focus on AI overviews and AI mode, because that is the bulk of where people are going to make their money. And then if you do good for AI mode and AI overviews and regular Google, you'll naturally increase your visibility in all the other chatbots too.
Yeah, and even recently, like Sam Altman, he himself in the podcast said that if Google would have been like more proactive with AI by 2-3 years margin, they would have already crushed OpenAI. And even right now, he himself said that he still thinks that if Google keeps on going at a really, really high speed, they have the potential to crush OpenAI. And I'm like, yeah. Or maybe it might come to a point where OpenAI don't have enough funding left. So Sam Altman like put out this like really big number, $7 trillion to build data centers and get electricity. And if it came to a point where they don't have much revenue, they don't have scope to get more funding, then OpenAI will be up for sale. And I think the first one to pick it up will be Google. So
I think
let's
so
see
too.
what
I think
happens.
one of the things whenever people say, Google's dead, Google's dying, etc., is I always say, well, how come ad revenue isn't dead? How
Yep.
come Google stock hasn't dropped? Because ad revenue seems to be just fine if it's going to be replaced in 6 months from now. It seems pretty bizarre, right? And I think that's a really interesting. The SERP API lawsuit came a month after OpenAI hired the people for the ads executives from Meta. And I think if Google gets that ad revenue, and then Gagan, as you're saying, Sam wants to spend 7 trillion just to keep up with LLM search, the people who think that LLMs are going to build their own Google are just lost, right? That they can't keep up seemingly with their LLM requirements and their, let's just say, like 3 generations down the road, the amount of compute power, the amount of electricity. And if Google's taking their ad revenue, that's a big problem for open AI, I think, right?
Even yesterday, Google bought this like energy company, and they spent like $5 billion in cash. They paid in cash. So I'm like, if Sam Altman want to do like these kind of like big stuff, then he need cash. He cannot be going around and raising like $500 billion or maybe $1 trillion. You need cash. And even in like Australia, Google is building this like new subsea cable from Thailand to Australia, and I think it's going to cost almost like $50 billion. And Google is like, yeah, we don't need to raise, we don't need to go out to anyone, we can just like drop money, billions of dollars here and there, just by our choice, you know.
You
At this
know,
point, everyone watching this should just Google the Google graveyard and just see how willing Google is to drop money on projects.
and that goes back to like what we're talking about, where stop optimizing for other channels and make sure you're optimizing for Google and make sure you're doing the things Google wants to see. Because in the long run, I think Google's going to win. They're just too far ahead of all these, all the other companies. So yeah, I think, when it comes to GEO, AI, SEO, just don't do stuff that is gonna damage your Google rankings, your Google visibility, because in the long run, it's going to bite you, and then it's going to affect visibility on other tools. Because, like we said with the lawsuit with SERP API, maybe that's Google's way of trying to crush ChatGPT, where they squeeze the source that they get their search engine results from, and then then OpenAI, then they have to rely on other sources to deliver results to people. And we know, as much as the SEO community like just again dumps on Google, they have the best search results, I would say, out of, between Google and Bing. And if OpenAI doesn't have access to Google search results, they're not going to give the best user experience, which naturally means people might stop, they might migrate away from them anyway.
Yeah. And also like
I'll go on.
Oh yeah. Also, like if this case like sort of came to a point where SERP API have to stop crawling Google, then all these guys like ChatGPT, Perplexity, they have to move to other indexing options. And right now, Exa and Palace Systems. Palace Systems is the company of Exa's Twitter CEO, the guy who got called out for like, what did you get done last week by Elon? And I think if people shift it to like those kind of the indexes, then it will come to more of like semantic search rather than page rank, because Exa and Palace Systems, they are trying to build index using semantics rather than authority. So this is something that brands should watch out for, that if things went like totally haywire for OpenAI and SERP API, and it came to a point where OpenAI don't have access to Google index via SERP API, then they are most likely going to shift to like semantic indexes like Exa or Palace Systems or someone else. And in that kind of the case, authority will become like zero. You don't need to be authoritative enough. Rather, you will have to have more content on the website.
Let's go back to
Brave
the
search. Brave search powers Claude. I think they do a pretty good job as well.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say, without authority, how do you have a good web system? Because it's open to spam.
I agree.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's open to spam.
I love quoting Aristotle. A lot of people use this quote like begs the question. I don't think they know the origin of it, right? But it's really simple. It's like the document or the book that's making the claim cannot also be the evidence for it. It's used a lot in like religious debates. But I think one of the things that people miss, especially people who look at, this document's got citations, or it's 5,000 words, or it's got this, it's a good document. It's so subjective, right? A lot of people actually like documents because of confirmation bias versus it being accurate or correct. And I agree with you completely, Harpreet. Without authority, the system is, it actually either becomes like monolithic, right? Like what if LLMs can't predict the best content, then once somebody's got that algorithm, everyone else is shut out permanently, right?
Yeah. And also, like, I think authority is really, really vague signal. You can build authority by doing certain things, but But the real question is, should authority exist in itself? Like, we all agree that yes, it should exist to some point, but how do you are actually like trying to measure it? Because some companies, what they are trying to do right now is they want to crawl the web. So they have the link graph, but then they want to use LLMs like Grok or Gemini to sort of like build the authority vector out of that. So I feel like this is something also that SEOs need to keep an eye on, where authority is not getting judged based upon like just the links, but rather the links, the quality of those links is getting judged by LLM, and based upon that, the scoring is happening. So then it comes to a point where we will have to think like how Gemini is thinking about the links rather than it being just about the authority on the web.
Yeah, that's
You
a
dig
good
more
point.
into that?
Yeah.
I would love to hear more about that, Kagan and Harpreet, if you
Yeah.
have any thoughts on that.
Yeah, sure. I think what the problem right now is that the authority is really, really fluid. It's not like absolute. So you cannot say that Gagan is more authoritative than David or than Harpreet. It has to be relative enough where I am saying that Gagan has more authority on SEO compared to David, compared to Harpreet. But that is not what Google is doing right now, I think. Google is saying that Forbes is the ultimate authority on anything, and that is leading to a lot of problems in the search results. Rather, Google have to go on like more subtopic level, where Google says that Forbes is a great authority on investment topics, but it's not a great authority on finance or maybe investment or real estate. So it has to be more granular rather than just like a domain level authority. And to figure that
Right.
out, and to
Near
figure
seed is
that
taking
out,
too
like,
many CNNs type thing.
yeah, sure. I think, and to figure that like topical level authority and the subtopical level authority and map that out with the relative domain comparison, I think LLMs can do a really, really good job in that. And Google will for sure will try to use that system in some way. And even in the DOJ documents that were leaked, Google was discussing that they should build their whole search stack using LLMs. So that is something also is that their own their agenda. And I feel like that will be a better system compared to like what we have seen. Like, for example, like some small sites, they are really good in writing content about shoes or bed sheet, but when it comes to ranking against Forbes, they don't rank much. But if we go on the pages, we can clearly say that this little guy has done more research, has shown more proof on the page that they have done actual testing, they have done these things compared to Forbes, but still Forbes is ranking. And the problem for that is that the Google is considering that it's a domain level authority rather than it like subtopics level authority.
I think Google's trying to make some changes with that, but it takes
Yeah.
time. So again, this is all anecdotal and it might change, and we don't want angry people in the comments. But I was just looking at Healthline yesterday. So I saw a tweet, I think from Lily, who posted a screenshot of Healthline declining over the past few months, especially with the December algorithm update. So I just spent like literally 5 or 10 minutes in Ahrefs, and I wanted to see what keywords are decreasing. And some of them were like fitness related, protein powder related, like muscle related. And I didn't do a deep dive into it, but initially I thought it could be that they're going down because Healthline's not known to be like a fitness hub. So maybe, Gagan, what you're talking about, maybe that's the algorithm trying to make that correction when it comes to sites like Healthline. But then you also messaged me and said that they probably signed a deal with Google. They might be one of the 3,000. So yeah, there's lots of reasons. But I think what you just said, I think Google tries to do that, but it takes them a long time to make that fix. But when it does come to the big sites like Forbes, CNN, and a few of the other that slip in my mind now, I don't think Google makes those changes, and Google just gives them the domain level authority of you guys can do whatever you want, and we're not gonna deal with it.
Yeah.
We just trust you because you're such a big brand.
Goggin, what did you think of HubSpot's decline? Whereas like HubSpot was ranking for everything, and
Yeah, I think HubSpot also got impacted by the topical authority change that Google did, where Google was like, they just withdraw the authority from all the content which is not that relevant, like quotes content and content which is not have nothing to do with CRM. So I think that was a big change, but I wish Google scaled that change to more sites. So what will the rankings of Forbes or CNN or all these big publishers will be? if Google is judging their authority based upon the topic rather than just like a whole domain level authority where it says that it's CNN, so it can rank for anything. Rather, what will the world will be where Google say that a political content from CNN is better compared to finance content or compared to travel content. So I think the search results is going to look way better if Google goes like more granular in terms of like the topical authority of the domains.
I think we're going to see that. That was one of my predictions for 2026 was that topical authority will become a lot more important.
Yeah. And it is, I think it is important to some extent right now as well. Like in your content strategy, if you are a small business or a medium-sized business, you should try to stay in your lane. You should not like go too much out of that to build your relevant topical authority around like whatever you do. But is Google reflecting that topical authority in the search results? That's what is not happening right now, where you can build your topical authority, but will you get reward for that topical authority if you're going against Forbes, CNN, or big sites in your niche? No, not right now. But should you get the reward for your topical authority? Yes. And to make that happen, Google will have to make some changes in the algorithm.
Gagan, I want to do an episode with I want to do an episode with you, and I had the founder of, it's called naplab, I think .com, which is like the top mattress affiliate on the show a few days ago. And they rank for things like firm mattress. They rank number one for like firm mattress, and they have only stayed in mattress reviews. And so they are like mattress affiliates is like a pretty competitive space, and they are like the top in it. And he came and talked about how he did it. I think it would be a really interesting conversation between you and him, and you can ask him how his content does against Forbes and these other players. Because, and I asked him, I'm like, so you're just staying in mattresses? He's like, for the time being, like it's a good TAM. We can get more, and like they're crushing by just staying in that. I'm sorry, David, I interrupted.
No, not at all. I just wanted to stay on what Gagan was saying about, and Harpreet was saying about staying in your lane and your topical authority, and for example, how HubSpot got crushed. And I wonder if HubSpot got crushed because their content team and their senior SEO strategy team had, gone off the reservation, so to speak, right? So the content team started writing like emojis for emails, things like that. And it wasn't as coupled to strong points of authority, right? And what is your lane and who gets to determine it, right? Because Microsoft have multiple lanes. I was taking Microsoft apart the other day. They're in the cloud, they're in gaming, they even rank for resume, right? Because of a Word doc resume template from like 20 years ago, right? And so I have like topical authority for Google in certain areas, right? Because I got lucky one day and published something about what is Google LLC, and it's always ranked, and I actually get tons and tons of clicks from it. Now, I think that if you take HubSpot and you take other sites that have lost a lot of traffic, is that because they're outside of their lane, or did they not build their topical authority at the top level, right? Like, can you really say to companies you can only fit in one lane, right? Like, how does that work for Microsoft, Amazon, and Google itself, right? Google's in the cloud, Google's in electricity, Google's in data centers, right? So my question to you guys is, if you do topical authority the right way, can you extend your lanes? And if so, does that
100%
sort of like challenge what
you can shape it? You can shape it.
Yeah, you can totally shape it, but you should not try to shape it just based upon the search volume. If you try to just shape it based upon search volume, then you will get hit. For example, like if HubSpot was doing like CRM content, and maybe they went into like how small businesses can use CRM, and they created tens of pages around that, like different country level pages, city level pages, how small businesses in New York can use HubSpot, how small businesses in Melbourne can use HubSpot. I think they would have done well. But they went into topics which are like too far away from CRM, like emojis, quotes. You can of course like create close by topics. So if you're already selling like mattresses, you can go into chairs. You can try to build the authority for that. But if you are going like too far, then it's a problem, I think. And also, like if you have multiple topics which are not related with each other, then I will go with either like subfolder structure or subdomain structure, not just on the main domain.
Would you fix HubSpot, guys? Like, could you return them, do you think? I mean, is it hypothetically possible if you had the right strategy? Could you get that traffic
I
back?
want to say yes, but it's also like one could we get the traffic back for quotes, or could we grow them? Could we grow them for like just more keywords? And like if that's the case, then you're going to start with adjacent topics rather than something really far away. And but anyway, I think it's totally possible. Like if you have, yes, completely possible. I don't remember how did they have like a quote subfolder? If they had like a quote subfolder and you're building all the right links to it, and then you're building links to the root domain saying that HubSpot also provides like the best quotes. Yeah, totally.
You know
It,
what?
it looked to me that the sorry, Harpreet, go ahead.
I was just going to say, with rebuilding them, I'd say what would be the end goal? Because yes, we can build, let's just say quotes, we can build quotes, we can make them rank for every single quote, but how much like revenue is that going to drive at the end of the day? I would say maybe they don't need to be built out more. Maybe where they're at, is great. I believe I don't know where their stock's at right now. I think it is been on the slide for the past few months, but I think their revenue is close to all-time high, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe they don't need SEO in that sense for traffic. Maybe they just need to consolidate all of their money terms.
Gagan, I think
Maybe they
you
need to
shared
move
this.
into AI.
Gagan, you shared this with me, and it was like a clip from Inbound from their conference, and they said that they're going down the funnel. They're moving like way down the funnel now.
Yeah.
And so now it kind of like it seems like they figured out what went wrong.
Or I think, or maybe they saw the shiny opportunity of AI and they went to the management and presented that, and management just said like, just do this rather than trying to recover like coach traffic or something. And even if you're any sort of like SaaS or B2B tool right now, you have a big opportunity with AI. Whatever you do, you add AI to it, you can create tens of pages about it, like AI CRM, AI features, or something like that. So that is a big opportunity right now, I think, for any software tool.
And Gagan, to your point, even the founder, I saw him on a podcast the other day talking about AEO and how it's different from SEO. And even some of their internal employees, I believe, they're promoting the AEO, like AEO consultancies, AEO strategies, based on what HubSpot has been doing for AEO. So
Wait, let me tell you guys what's so crazy. So the founder went on the My First Million podcast. This was like right after they started losing all this traffic, and there's a co-founder, and he said, he's like SEO is dead. It's like AI SEO that matters now. And so this was shared on the search engine optimization subreddit. It was shared everywhere, and it was going viral. People were like, "No, SEO isn't dead. You just lost the position for all of your keywords." And like it's like you could with just a free SEMrush account, like you could see, like no, they just messed up. They lost the position for all their keywords. And the title of that episode was "SEO is dead. This is what's next." And the backlash was so intense that they changed the title of the episode after.
I think we're all of a similar mindset, right? That SEO, Google search is like the NTFS or the disk space of cloud operating systems, cloud storage, right? A lot of people are saying that like AI content, the ability to scale up, Google not caring too much about AI content, that we could be on an explosion level event where the amount of content on the internet could go up 10, 20x, which makes Google even more important, right? Because you have so much content. Do you think companies will expand content, talking about like topical authority, talking about the ability to scale up rapidly? Do you think?
Well, David, I'm going to say that's already been happening because user-generated content is ranking so well now, and it has been exploding.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, actually,
and it's so easy to create. You can make a TikTok in 5 minutes or 3 minutes. Same with an Instagram reel. Say you can make an X post in a couple of minutes.
It's not going to get smaller. Ranking.
Yeah,
it's.
David, I was going to say, so I gave a presentation to a bunch of Canadian CMOs a couple of weeks ago, and I was just seeing, and we were talking about strategies for 2026, and I noticed that YouTube citations in AI overviews, so November saw a really big increase, and that carried on into December. And I'm assuming next year, like Google's AI is going to lean more heavily into video, and I think a lot of other SEOs are saying the same thing. I think it's because of what you said. There's so much content already on the internet that's like text-based. I think, Google's AI is saying, okay, how do we differentiate between one brand and another brand? Like, let's just take AI medical scribes, for example. There's about 30 lists that talk about the best AI medical scribes. how does Google say, okay, what's the best AI medical scribe? Because they're so new. But a video might have more weight behind it because it takes a little bit more effort to create. So that's my theory there. So I don't know where OpenAI is at with this. I don't know where some of the other AIs are with this, but I think for Google specifically, I think video is going to have a much bigger impact next year just because there's too much text-based content on the web.
Do you think it's because it takes more effort to create a video, or do you think it's because video is more engaging?
Right now, I think video is hot. So you see Instagram Shorts, TikTok, even Twitter, I think, is promoting more videos now. LinkedIn tried it. So I think, yeah, definitely video is more engaging, but also it takes more effort to create, and it's more difficult to make good videos with AI content. So I think it's
So maybe the production lift is higher, so it creates a barrier. But I think, to Edward's point, it has to be more popular or it has no value, right? I think it's definitely more popular, right? It's easier to listen to people while you're working in the background than to like have to take a break and read, right? Especially, I think, in today's age where people have less like focus time. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
exactly.
And video is more authoritative too. Like you're showing your faces, like people trust you more compared to just reading an article that you wrote,
Good point.
Yeah, I agree. Some of the videos are funny. So if we're talking listicles, some of the videos are literally like some influencer with like 300,000 YouTube subscribers. They're just opening the websites of like 10 accounting software companies and they're just like talking about them. But I'm seeing them rank in AI overviews. So I think the big short-term opportunity for like just going off track and going to SEO is going to be getting that listicle, but in a video form through a YouTube influencer. And AI overviews is gonna list the brands in there in the order that the influencer says them, and it's gonna take content from the video. I think SEOs are gonna spam that quite heavily in Q1 next year before Google fixes something going into spring and the summer.
Dude, I've been saying that. I was even saying that you could put like not like the full comparison table, but like just comparisons within a description for like a YouTube video, and say part of those comparisons, and that's going to be picked up.
Yeah,
because it's doing so well.
Yeah, and
add a listicle to this, like our top 10 predictions.
We could do that.
Let's try it. And I was going to say you can,
and
even,
I'll put it in the description for this.
You can even see, so with those videos, so let's just say you're typing the best financial reporting software. So the first thing would be that listicle style video, but there's more than one video in the AI overview. The second one might be a demo of a company. So what I've been trying to test, or what I'm pushing for, is rather than saying, the finance company's reporting platform, change that company name, change the name into actually what it is for the main keyword. So just be like financial reporting platform and dash company name. And I'm seeing that rank in the AI overviews behind the initial listicle. So yeah, I'm seeing video is going to be hot next year. And I think if we did make 10 predictions and we made the title of the video, 2026 SEO predictions, I think, Edward, with your authority, like the authority that your channel has, I think you would rank for that keyword in the
already doing
SEO
it.
space.
We're already doing it, right, David?
Yeah, I think
we're already doing it.
Yeah. Also, regarding text content, I think what Google will try to do over time is they are going to shift from like thinking of pages as like top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, or bottom of the funnel to more of like contextually relevant content rather than about like if it's top or middle or bottom. Like if you're a small business based in like Melbourne and you run a dentist shop or something like that, you don't have to go into details of like how to fix your teeth or write a long blog post about that. You just have to talk about like just the contextually relevant to your business, where you go ahead and that you need this service, you need your teeth fixed. We are based in Melbourne. We do this. Here is our specialty. Here is how many operations we have done. Here is the reviews from our customers. You don't have to start thinking about like top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, or bottom of the funnel. If you're a small business, just think of like whatever you're creating as a text page, just make it contextually relevant to your target audience or their location. Simple.
And that's why I hate dwell time.
Oh, go on.
I said that's why I hate dwell time, right? I think like this, like, firstly, why punish people that are effective at communications, right? I've written content in cybersecurity I've seen people drop in, scroll, hit bullet points, hit icons, find what they want, and complete a form. Now, that might not be their first visit, right? They could be 10 visits back. I don't think Google is sort of like watching your whole customer journey. And that's why I don't like dwell time as an SEO factor, right? It's like, I don't think that people are looking for opportunities to find 16,000 words to read about getting their teeth fixed, right? Like, can you do it? Do you have space? Are you nearby? You know, you're in, right? If you've got toothache, there's not you're not going to be going reading about dental surgery here, right?
Here's the thing. I actually think that this has been the right way to do SEO for like the last 10 years. People always wanted their answers fast. And it's like when you actually targeted a query directly, gave the answer right away, that did really well. And like,
Exactly.
yeah, and I've always looked down upon, it's funny. I don't know how you guys felt when you first read the Skyscraper technique article by Brian Dean. And I don't want to say anything bad about Brian Dean, but I remember when I read that article and I'm like, this is crazy. This is amazing. And I spent so much time doing these Skyscraper technique articles. And then like randomly, I made it with some like bottom of funnel content, which you don't need as many words for, and you just target it directly, and then it converted way higher, required way less work. And I'm like, why is everyone obsessed with the Skyscraper technique? Like, I don't
Why
understand.
create one 10,000 word page when you could create one 100 word pages is always my philosophy, right?
Yeah. And also, like, I think this is great. Like, I want to have like less content on the pages, but the challenge that has been there is like Google don't reward them enough. Like we say that Google in the featured snippet text, Google try to pick up like short pages, but I would say that for majority of the queries, like 80%, Google is rewarding like long form pages which are like crap. I think they have
I'd
to
like to
move to a
disagree with that.
point. Oh, okay.
I want to fight.
Okay.
I so
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
no, go ahead. Sorry. No, I'm rude. I interrupted. I shouldn't have.
Yes. So what I was trying to say is that for like 80% of the queries, Google is trying to reward like long form content, and for 20% of the queries, like they are trying to like show more of like short form pages. And I think it need to flip, where Google is for 80% of the queries is trying to reward like short form content, and 20% for the 20% of the queries, it is giving like long blog pages answer kind of things. So the 80% of the queries are more of like short queries where you're just like trying to get some service or trying to buy some product. But those 20% of the queries are like more long tail, where people are trying to like find like more detailed information. And I think in 2026, if Google do this flip where they are overall at scale are moving towards like rewarding short form pages compared to the long form, then it's going to be great.
So here's what I think about that. I've always thought Google is content agnostic, and I've thought so since 1999. And I was a software engineer in Dell, and it was great. Like I had a whole server room of servers to build like web services. I bought a book on like Microsoft Visual Studio and writing client services applications. I was 22 years old. I was in heaven. And one of the things that I do, and this is the basis for the video I did with Edward yesterday, is like go to Google, go to PAA, take a screenshot of 50 people also ask questions, drop it in Perplexity and say, give me 90 words per question based on my website, my tone, or whatever I've taught my LLM. And then I post each one on a page. And I've been doing that forever, like creating one word pages. I'm like the king of one word pages ranking everywhere. I think there's definitely people, you can go and do a search for a recipe, right? Like go Google carbonara. It's got 4 ingredients, yet every page has got like 15,000 headings, right? I don't think Google prefers it because I've had so much success with one words, but I think I'm breaking the rules here, right? So if I can do it, because I'm not a great writer, then Google doesn't have a preference for writing quality or word count. So you're saying that Google seems to prefer it. I'd love to hear more about that.
I was going to say,
And Harpreet, if you want.
yeah, this takes me back actually a few years. So my early agency days, working for e-commerce stores. So I think I've not been in e-commerce for a while, but I think their sites still do it where they add chunks of text to the bottom of category pages. and product pages for the sake of it. So I'm not going to name the name, but begins with M. Huge department store in the USA. So we had a script where for certain categories like men's jeans, women's jeans, men's coats, and all of that, we would just add blocks of text to the bottom of the page. And the test that we ran, we did see rankings go up, and we did see improvements just based on adding text. But what we also did was we internal linked to specific products and like cross categories. So you can't really isolate what the ranking increase was for. But I think the reason we see like long blog posts and just chunks of text on e-commerce sites is because of correlation. Like generally sites that have more content, they end up, people think that they rank better, so people do it anyway. And I think now we're getting into like SEO myths, because now when I'm like Googling stuff, I do see sometimes very pages with very minimal text, especially like B2B landing pages on page 1 for even like best queries. But then position 5, 6, 7, there might be a best of listicle. So I know going back a couple of years, maybe 3 years, one of Google's algorithm updates, they did try and remove a bunch of affiliate sites from the results and replace them with e-commerce sites. So I think that actively reduced the average word count of pages. So I think between the fight, I'm just in the middle of the fence where, it might have an impact, it might not. I just feel like it's one word count and just adding text to pages. It's one of those myths that people have been doing just because they see some sort of correlation. And I think as SEOs and SEO teams, they're just scared of moving away from it. They're scared of making that change of, oh, what's going to happen if I remove this text from an e-commerce category page? We might reduce rankings. So you know what? We're not going to touch it. But what we might do as an SEO project, and it might just be a make work project where you're just doing work for the sake of doing work, is just improving that text a little bit. So maybe rearranging sentences here and there and just adding a couple of internal links here and there.
Yeah. And
I
also
ranked for years for Bing Search Console with just a video. Like no text. And then I needed the text because I needed internal links.
And also like I think what is happening right now is like if for a particular query the top 10 results and each page has like 1000 words on it, and if you start to write like a 500 words page targeting same query, Google goes like, you are drifting out of consensus. So the consensus is that you are supposed to write like long form pages targeting these queries, and if you drift out of the consensus, Google don't reward you enough. That's what I meant. Because Google is content agnostic. I think they are not trying to make sense of the whole page. What they are doing is they are just picking the phrases and the keywords and the sentences and just using that to rank the pages for the queries rather than trying to make sense of the whole page. So because of that, Google don't know if there are like 11 pages, 10 of them have 1000 words each and one page has 500 words. But technically that 500 pages word is better. But because Google is not reading the whole content and trying to make sense of the whole page, they are not going to reward that 500 words page. And I think this with Gemini, they can move away from. With Gemini, they can try to make sense of the whole page rather than just like relying on queries, phrases, sentences, where Google is reading the whole page and trying to make sense of it using Gemini. And then I think it will get to a point where if your 500 words content is better than 1000 words content piece, and if Gemini is reading the whole page and that is getting used in the ranking, then you have better chance of like ranking with short content.
I don't think Google can do that. So it's so subjective. How do you determine if 500 words is better? You fall into traps like greater density, less like human M dashes or whatever. I think it's problematic. But it just reminded me of one of the conversations I had with Edward about free load balancer using exact match domain in search. The free load balancer site, when we launched it, was only 25 pages and Kemp was 19,000 pages. Yet it still ranks, right? With all of the topical authority around load balancer, it still ranks first. So I think that like Harpreet said, it's more about correlation, right, than causation. I think even with LLMs, trying to get an LLM to go I think this 500 words is better than this 1,000 words would require so much subjectivity creep into it. I worry about a search engine doing that almost. I'd love to hear your feedback on that.
What do you guys
Yeah, I
think
think
of? So
yeah.
you can go ahead.
Yeah, I think what they can do is they can use these thinking models, chain of thoughts, to build a base model where they have a sort of like a matrix which is getting filled by Gemini judging the content on the page, and use that a numbered matrix as a base layer, and then decide like who is better compared to that base layer. So even right now, like when Google do algorithm updates, they are moving the base of the ranking signals, and with that base, some guys got left on the left behind, and some guys are on the right side of the things, and they get rewarded. I think same base can be defined using a chain of thought thinking in Gemini.
But that requires Gemini to know about the topic beforehand, right? Which is fine for
Yeah.
encyclopedia content, right? Like Wikipedia. But let's say you have a Supreme Court justice in Argentina makes a decision, and then you have a trial lawyer making an observation.
Mhm.
How can you use those, like, or what if let's make it easier, you're an SEO tool company and you develop a new SEO tool that's never been built before. How can Gemini has to know more about it, right? And I don't think that Gemini and Google have that much access to new information, right? So that's a
I think
problem.
using Gemini, they can get to a point where they can score the new information better. So if and that's when the PR stuff will also come in. So if you're publishing something really new, like a new AI SEO tool or something like that, then Gemini can judge that, okay, this is a SEO tool. These are the set of the queries that it should be ranking for. Now I need to see on the web if there are more things related to this, and that's where that SEO tool company will have to do digital PR on different pages explaining your stuff, so that Gemini have, you launch the tool and Gemini have some detailed pages on different websites explaining that tool, and that's how Gemini can like make better sense of your tools. I think that is where
But
AI SEO is going.
There's a
PR is
great
a pay-to-play service, right? So how does PR make something trustworthy?
example
It,
was
yeah.
GEO actually. Sorry to cut you guys off, but yeah, GEO. Just like when people remember, like a few months ago, there was people just saying, "Oh, like the SEO side of the camp was like, well, Google doesn't even know what GEO is." So when I typed in GEO, I got the Pakistani TV channel show up as my number one search, probably because I've been on the site. But other people get like geography related and geology related stuff. It's only now that Google's the actual AI tools and Google itself is associating GEO with what GEO is.
And I think that's something that Google. So when Google says we understand content, right? I think that's the limit of it. In other words, if you say DR, right? DR could mean domain rating. It could mean Dominican Republic, right? And so Google it actually takes a huge amount of intelligence up to now to work out what you mean, right? So based on your previous search or based on other words in that sentence. I think though, trying to pick the best content because of PR is highly problematic, because like any PR I've done, like I'm not paying for it unless it's putting things my way, right? That to me is like a real challenge, right? Like especially if it's something that is subjective, right? Because like the I think the like what you said, Gagan, requires that everything is objective, and there's very few things that are objective. Sure, the capital of France is Paris, great, but who's the best soccer team? That's subjective. What's the best CRM tool? That's subjective. And so I don't think that these tools can make those decisions.
I think what Google will try to do is like turn these subjective things into like a objective base layer metric, where they define certain things as a base and then judge the subjectivity relative to that. So let's say a
Like
really really
PageRank.
good, yeah, kind of page rank, but it's not like links or anchor text. Rather, it's the content on the page itself. So maybe we can have like a content rank which is powered by Gemini, kind of thing.
And that goes back to what I said at the start. Aristotle's, right, begs the question, right? The document cannot be proof for the document's claims.
Yep.
And that's why I think trusting the document is a no-go from the get-go. And that's a 2,000-year-old logical fallacy, right?
Yeah. And also, like, I think one other thing which is changing in this LLM space, and Google has also like published some research papers around it, is memory. LLM memory. So some startups like Super Memory and MemZero, they are trying to build systems where what you can do is, if you're chatting with Perplexity, you're chatting with ChatGPT, you are doing chat with Gemini, you can club all that memory together and everyone knows everything about you. So if you are doing some chat with ChatGPT and you go to Gemini, Gemini will already have that context that you have been talking this with ChatGPT. And if you go from ChatGPT to Perplexity, Perplexity will already know that you have been doing this chatting with Gemini and other chatbots. So it's like a global memory layer for your conversations. And I think what Google is trying to do right now is turn their knowledge graph into a memory layer where Gemini can
But
talk to the
subjective.
Gemini can talk to the knowledge graph in the real time and make some decisions out of that. And I think over time, what that memory layer is going to become is like Google can judge more and more content at the same time. So rather than loading 100 pages into the memory to judge the quality, they will be able to load like thousands of pages plus the facts and the more details from knowledge graph plus more real-time information from news websites. So I think that is also going to change the content scoring to some extent.
It'll
Where Google,
understand
yeah,
your subjective bias.
I think it always is going to be subjective bias. Like even right now, we can say that Google PageRank has subjective bias, where PageRank thinks that Forbes is better in everything, or CNN is better in anything. So subjective bias will also always be there, but I think Google will definitely try to build a content rank kind of thing, where they are using Gemini memory systems and they are loading like hundreds and thousands of websites into the memory RAM, because now they can with the large context windows and they are scoring the pages based upon that. But again, I think for that, there need to be a base layer where we will have a content rank base layer. And with each algorithm update, AI SEO algorithm update, that base layer is going to shift and some people will be left behind who will get demoted, less citations, less mentions in AI answers, and people who are getting pushed with that base layer shift will get like more citations and more mentions in AI mode.
You know, I actually could see something like that being possible, because you have like, you could look at engagement signals for where a searcher is most likely to be satisfied, and then correlate that to like patterns of content that are coming up.
Like
Also
Facebook.
have like one question for
Say
David.
that again, David.
I said like Facebook, right? Facebook is good at that, right? Meta.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, we see that. Yeah. Facebook, TikTok.
Mhm.
If
Yeah.
this new content it matches this other content that satisfied people. I mean, maybe I don't know. I'm just
Also like
Except that
for
they
David.
don't have they don't start with
Yeah.
a search though, right? That's the problem, right?
Yeah. And also like we
Well,
already
it
know.
would be a mix of signals. It would be relevance. It would be document relevance, and then it
Mhm.
would also be the engagement. But I guess that's what we have, and then it's almost pretty much what we have now with PageRank. So,
Yeah. And
Yeah.
also like I think we for sure know that Google uses these interaction signals with the URLs that it is ranking. David, do you think that with AI mode, like people are having like billions of people are using it right now every day? Do you think that the interaction signals there, which URL people are clicking out, is Google also using that to filter AI mode answers? Or are they going to use those interaction signals to filter search results where they are shuffling the ranking based upon those signals? Because if more and more people are not going to the search results, there are no those interaction signals anymore, and but Google need interaction signals, and the only interaction signals that it is going to have is people interacting with citations in AI mode. So will it get to a point where the ranking in the index is getting influenced by how people are engaging with AI mode and the citations, the mentions, the follow-up chat, and everything?
But that's a good question. That's a really, really good question.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about this a lot, and I don't actually have a solid answer. I think it depends on the percentage, right? So maybe the interaction, so eventually when you do decide to click out, does that then inherit all of the previous content, right? Like, so it's sort of like instead of getting one topic, one click, you're now getting 10 topics, one click, right? So that's potentially one way of doing it. So it's especially for page rank, because that is like click through rate, I think, is the most powerful part after page rank. Like page rank gets you there, and then click through rate keeps you or loses you there. Harpreet, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's gonna have. Yeah, I think there will be. So I'm thinking about how I use AI overviews and how I use Google. So my wife uses AI overviews at face value. I don't see her clicking through. Like she doesn't click through, she takes them at face value, but sometimes the AI overview is wrong and then she doesn't want to click through, she will just press refresh or she'll make a new search. But I am a bit different where, because I'm an SEO, I will click through to the links because I don't see the AI, the AI overview doesn't give me the actual answer that I need. So yeah, I think over time, maybe not in 2026, maybe in 2027, I think we'll start to see the behavioral patterns of how people use AI influence the sites that show up. I also think this is just a theory, like in my head. I also think if at some point the AI is going to get really good at giving you informational queries, I don't think there's a need to link out for those. Like for those sources, like if you already see something, like for example, how my wife uses AI overviews, if you see something and you read the informational query, there's no value in linking out. It's better off that below the AI overview you see maybe commercial queries, and that's I think where their ads come into play. So
Or
maybe
is it a case that if I have to keep asking questions, I lose a click, right? Like as I'm asking more questions, the impressions go up and the click through rate goes down as a result of that.
yes, the impressions can go up, click through rate can go down. But I'm thinking from a Google point of view, and actually all the platforms, they want you to stay within the platform for as long as possible. And I think Rand Fishkin posted something on LinkedIn just like 2-3 days ago where he said, "Don't optimize for people." I don't know if he was like making a joke or like what, but I saw the LinkedIn post. He said, "Don't optimize for people, optimize for the algorithm." Um, and he mentioned Instagram, he mentioned TikTok, he mentioned like Twitter, LinkedIn, where they devalue you if you put a link in your post. So I kind of see Google moving into that direction where they do want you to stay on the platform for as long as possible. And yeah, for website owners, they will see fewer clicks, and we're already seeing that. But yeah, impressions will go up. Roundabout way of answering your question, but yeah, I think over time we will see the SERP results change based on the behavior of users for the AI features.
I asked this question because in the DOJ Department of Justice documents that were released, it was clearly mentioned that clicks is a gold mine that Google has, and they don't want to give it away in any way by selling Chrome out to anyone. So if there is no usual search results, ranked results where people are clicking around, there is no clicks data for Google. And then how they are going to figure out like what they should do for building the index,
And I got so this is a thought. So actually, I was making a few searches last week, and you've probably seen those like black links in AI overviews that open a new Google search result. So maybe that's their new way of measuring things. So I was seeing some really weird searches last week where I was looking for like maybe commercial keywords or like informational keywords, but there were random keywords underlined. So usually we see like the brand name. So if you type in like best financial planning software, you'll see the brands with the little black link underlined, and that will open a new search for their own brand name. But I was seeing like random words in there, like scenario planning underlined, and then you click on it, and that opens a new Google search in relation to the software you were looking for, but it opens an informational search. So maybe that's their way of trying to see how people are clicking. Maybe I was part of a test. I probably have a screenshot on my desktop somewhere of that search. But yeah, I was noticing that
So
last week.
I feel
Taking
like
that one step further, sorry, I just want to like go back to, okay, so if you're not clicking out, right, and we've seen a lot of people say like SEO is dead. There's a guy on LinkedIn said like, oh, Harvard said or MIT said where SEO is dead. If you're going to stay in the LLM screen, and you now have an agent. So let's say you identify the type of watch you want to buy, or the type of vacation, or you want to fly business class to Lithuania, for example, in February 2026. You're just staying in your LLM, right? And you've got agents that go off and do the buying, or they buy you some water or whatever. Is web design dead? Like if the LLM is scraping the content, right? It doesn't matter. You could just do a text file, right? If you're not going to the shop, is web design
No.
being impacted here?
No, there's too many people that use the internet the normal way. So like I'm thinking of like my family, Punjabi background.
We had a chance to kill web design, just saying.
I don't think so, because they're not going to use these agentic features. They're not going to use these tools. I think there's just, 7 billion people in the world. There's too many people that don't use the internet. Like DoorDash's integration with ChatGPT, for example. 95% of people that I know, if they're ordering a DoorDash, they're not going to go into ChatGPT and be like, oh, what am I going to make tonight? And then DoorDash isn't going to order their ingredients for them through ChatGPT. I just think there's too many people. Maybe in like 100 years, maybe in like 120 years when we're long gone. But just in the near future and short-term future, I just don't see that happening, because too many people don't know how to use these tools unless they become the default. Unless they completely become the default and search as we know it goes, Google gets rid of all the blue links and stuff like that, but that's not going to happen because of the ad revenue, which we already talked about.
I think it
I am
depends
seeing
upon
people go from ChatGPT.
it depends upon like age. Like my dad, even though he has like credit card, but he still prefers cash, and he keeps on saying like cash is a king. So I think depending upon like age brackets, certain people are still going to want experience where they are going to a website, and like people like us, like who are techies, we will want like more agentic stuff, like where everything is getting done in the chat session for us.
Yeah, and even within our age group, right, there's people that do different things. So I know people that are in their mid-20s, late 20s, early 30s. They behave differently to me. Like they still prefer cash, Gagan. Like they like using cash, and just things like that, where technologically they don't have an interest in these things as much as we do. So I think even like people like that are a younger age, like they might not adopt these new technologies.
Yeah.
There's preferences, right? And people are always reluctant to change. If you fly to Newark Terminal C, which is United's hub in Newark, New Jersey, you cannot buy a glass of water without using a tablet. You have to have a credit card. You cannot. They've got 62 restaurants, because a friend of mine here in Sing Island designed all of them. You cannot buy anything. You can't buy unless it's like a Subway or something. But any of the restaurants and bars around Terminal C, which is a huge airport, it's like 170 gates. You cannot buy anything without a credit card or using an iPad. I've seen people try. It's you have to have a credit card, and you have to be able to, even if you go and buy distilled water at one of the shops, right? If you look at the European Union and you look at the US, like people are using credit cards everywhere, right? So it's not just like a generational thing. It also depends on like, what if the LLM says to you, look, you're shopping for this, I found a better price. Would you like me to buy it? Are you really going to, if you've got your credit card or your Google Pay set up and it just becomes a matter of convenience, we can actually change, right? Like we've seen more whole scale change in the last 20 years than the last 100 years.
Yeah, I think it is possible to change. But I just think when it comes to like just some of this agentics, I just don't see some people change. So in that case, they're like forced to change. They don't have a choice. But when we're talking about the web, it's like these companies have to stop doing what they're doing and change themselves. Like, is Google going to get rid of the blue links completely?
Like when Google started to show AI overviews in the search results, like so many people were complaining in these Google forms and saying that we don't want AI overviews in our results. Like there was so much backlash, even from like outside SEO community, and still Google did not give the option to like turn off AI overviews in the results. So I think they can literally force a particular user behavior that they want.
Really, what I can see with agents. I could see a scenario where, just imagine this, like you're with a friend and a friend orders food through ChatGPT. And then you just see how easy, like the friend said to ChatGPT, I'm hungry, but I don't know what I want. And the ChatGPT helps it figure out helps the guy figure out what he wants. And he's like, oh, and then this restaurant near you can deliver it. Okay, good. Order it. And you see that happen through ChatGPT. And so you're with your friend, you see that, and then next time that you're hungry and you're going to order and you don't know what you want, you do it through ChatGPT, just like you saw with your friend. That becomes a habit. And now you're talking and ChatGPT is like, well, you could try to cook this at home and I could help you get the ingredients. And you're like, well, I've had such a good experience ordering food. Let me try ordering the ingredients. And then you order the ingredients. And now you're in this ecosystem where you're used to actually ordering things with agents. And I could see it being like, a lot of people didn't like AI overviews at first, and now those same people love AI overviews. I use
Buying
AI
airplane.
overviews all the time.
Or buying airplane tickets. And like one of the first casualties was the travel agency, right? They got wiped out. What would you rather do? Spend an hour searching United, going change times, I only like to fly at 10 o'clock in the morning. An AI
Wait,
agent
David,
can
so
sit
are
there.
you using agents to buy plane tickets?
I want to.
Oh, you want to? You're not yet.
I'd like
Okay.
to.
'Cause
I'll get there.
I want to hear how that experience is. Like, I want to hear like if for somebody who's doing it a lot, are they making a lot of mistakes? Is the AI making a lot of mistakes? Is it like spot on every time? Is it way faster? Are they say?
Have you seen Google's AI flight planner?
Oh yes, I have
Oh,
used
so
it.
you can. Okay, sorry, Gang, you go ahead if you've used it. Do you want to talk about it?
No.
I
You
use
go
it.
ahead. You go
Oh.
ahead. Yep.
So you can type in, look, I want to fly from Orlando to Dublin. I don't want to. I don't want any. I don't want any more than one connection, and I don't want a red eye. And then it'll sit there and it'll find all of the best alternatives, and then just email you the ones that it thinks are relevant to you. So much easier, right? And
Yeah.
that's a big time saver.
I think these middle aggregators, like either in like hotel space, travel space, they are going to suffer. But the ones who have like exact value in the middle, like for example, like I use Airbnb a lot, and I know there is more value to just going to Airbnb than some sort of like agent or anything like that, because Airbnb is doing like quality checks for me. So if I am booking something through Airbnb, I have a certain expectation that the space is going to be what it is being advertised as, compared to like some other hotel booking or room booking kind of like service. So if you're just aggregating information where you don't have any value in your platform, and users don't have like specific trust element. For example, I trust Airbnb to make sure that they are doing like proper checking to the area is safe, whoever is putting up the house for renting, there is no sort of like crime issue or anything like that, then I will go to the platform. Otherwise, the middle guys, their business will suffer a lot. For example, like booking.com, like there is not much value to booking.com. They are just aggregating it from different providers. And if anyone who can provide me that trust layer where I'm certain that, okay, the service that I will get is going to be great in term, and it is going to be what it is getting advertised as, then booking.com business don't exist. The middleman is gone.
I'm going to flip flop now. I think that's why they're trying to integrate with ChatGPT, right? So they don't want to lose like their service, that you can use these aggregators through ChatGPT, because they're worried about people going to them directly. And obviously, we're in the early days, but what you just said is, yeah, basically why they're trying to integrate with AI before these AI companies launch their own features like Google Jobs, Google Flights, Google Hotels, like a few years ago.
So I think that could be a big change, right? Like in terms of like in the 1990s, www part of the web took over from like Gopher and IRC and so on. Do you think agentic could take over, like where your agent takes over a browser and starts filling in forms for you?
Yes, I think so. And I think it will not even be like doing specific interactions. Agent will know me. So it will know my home address. It will know my credit card details. It will know my travel history. It will know like what sort of preferences do I have. Do I like cappuccino or chai latte or something else, you know? What's my preferred order for Starbucks, or what's my preferred order for Subway or some other restaurant? So it will have all that history. and maybe some medical information as well if people are willing to like plug in, like, and then it is going to go ahead and make different decisions. So that's why I mentioned memory earlier, where you can plug memory in and all the chatbots know everything about you, even the stuff that you are doing with other chatbots. So I think that's where we are going, where you will have like a memory profile which you can go and take to any agent, any sort of like chatbot providers, and they will already know everything about you, and then based upon that they are going to give you suggestions or what you should buy or what you should get.
I want to disagree on that. I think it will make too many mistakes when there's not a direct when there's not a clear data feed available. Like when I was talking about DoorDash and groceries, there's a data feed available, but like when you actually have an agent going through your browser and like it makes tons of mistakes to the point where it's just not really efficient to do for like a lot of tasks. And I'm not certain that it's going to make way less mistakes anytime soon. Again, when there's like a direct data feed available, it's way different. And what you said about with memory and like memorizing everything that you'd like, sure, but that's different than it not getting confused if there's not a data feed.
Yeah, I think so. And even like if you're SEO, like you can install Comment Browser on it, and you can go to any website like Walmart, and in the assistant you can say take over left window and add grapes and some toilet paper or something else to the cart, and give me a layout of the steps that you have taken. And it's almost like 7 to 8 steps that the agent will have to take on the website to just add 2 items to the cart. That is not a something like efficient workflow. And even these AI companies are spending a lot on server capacity to run those kind of the workflows in the browser, you know. So I think
I'll
feed
tell
feeds
you,
is the ultimate solution.
at the beginning of this year, at the beginning of 2025, I covered, it was like this project Claude, I think it was called Claude Plays Pokemon. I don't know if you guys ever heard about this. And it was a Pokemon Red made for like 5 and 6-year-olds. And Claude's strategy, like I don't know if you guys ever played Pokemon. In Pokemon, you play it, and when you die, I think it's called you black out, and you end up at the Pokemon Center, and then you have to try again. And so Claude got stuck on a cave. It was this cave at Mount Mood, and its strategy to get out of the cave was to black out and die. It would deliberately die so that it could get out of the cave, but then it had to go back to the cave to get to the next checkpoint. So it would go back to the cave. Oh, I'm in the cave. I have to black out again. And so it just got stuck in this loop. Claude couldn't, this was at the beginning of this year, Claude couldn't beat Pokemon Red, a game that was made for 6-year-olds. And yeah, I mean, how much better is it going? A lot of people will be like, Edward, you're like, this doomer mentality is going to get, it's way better in 2027, 2028. You're dead wrong. I'm not so certain. I'm curious what you guys think, though.
Have you seen the Amazon Alexa ads on Samsung TVs? So you turn on your movie, the ads start, and you actually get an Alexa add to basket that you can like control with your remote and add what's
but that's a direct data feed. That's what I was saying. When there's
sure.
a direct data feed available, it's different.
But it's a change, right?
Yeah. And I think it may be possible that in 2026, these companies, OpenAI, Perplexity, they are going to ask for a direct data feed from website owners. So maybe OpenAI will launch like OpenAI Search Console, where you can upload your data feed, maybe via RSS or maybe some other format, where OpenAI don't have to go and crawl your pages. Rather, you are just giving them, this is a URL and this is the overall text on this page.
Exactly. This is the product. This is how you add 5 to your basket and then check out. And there's no browser. I think the browser is a disaster.
It's going to be, that'll be crazy because there's going to be a lot of businesses who aren't going to use that at the beginning. And it's like, you could use something like that, and it's just going to be the most insane advantage.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you don't need a designer.
Edward, it's like your point when AI first became a thing, like a couple of years ago, a lot of companies wanted to block the crawlers, right? But now some of these same companies are like, we need to do AEO, like we need to invest in AEO. But when this AI became a thing, they're like, oh, we don't want AI to train itself on our data, so we're going to block it. And on Twitter, the very SEOs now that are talking about GEO, they were the ones posting charts of like percentages, like how many percentage of companies in the Fortune 500 have blocked AI crawlers. And now we're at a place where they want to
And I mean,
optimized for
Cloudflare
this.
made it the default. Cloudflare has blocking, like when you set up a site through Cloudflare, it's the default with the robots.txt to block
Yeah.
AI. I want to change. I want to change the discussion just a little bit. I want to note it. I want to know, like, how has your strategy changed in 2025? Your SEO strategy changed in 2025, if at all, and will it change? And do you think it'll change in 2026? And even thinking like so far ahead to 2027.
For 2025, like what I did was we've talked about this before, where I'm trying to work with more people within a marketing team because the stuff they do has a bigger impact on SEO. And I think SEO has kind of been like that for the last like 5 years. But pre HCU, I think you could get away as an SEO with just being really in tune with the content team, pumping out content, getting backlinks, and you can show growth in terms of both revenue and clicks. But post HCU, post some of the algorithm changes, you kind of have to do more, where you do have to know what the PR team is doing. Like you're forced, like the good SEOs were doing it anyway, but now SEOs are forced to work with the brand team and see what PR are doing. They're forced to see what the social team is doing. So I think in 2025, I'm just trying to make myself like it's an opportunity for the SEO to become kind of like the point, or like the defensive midfielder, if it's more in football, like the go-to in a marketing team where they're kind of overseeing everything. So they're like, yeah, so they're overseeing everything that's going on, because every single thing that another marketing function does will have an impact on what you do, either through traditional SEO or through AI SEO. And I think we're going to see more of that in 2026, as we talked about with video. So if the social team is making some shorts with the founder, or they're making some LinkedIn videos, or they're making a podcast, or it doesn't matter what they're doing, just getting that video onto YouTube, making sure the title's optimized, making sure the description's optimized, making sure that video's on the website. Okay, now that we know that, but now we also know that within AI, there's multiple citations. So how can we make use of a multi-domain strategy? So for example, I work on a website where we've got our own software site, but we also have a podcast site. So one of the things I'm doing is doubling up content. So any content that we post on the website, I also want a completely same topic, different content, so we're not duplicating, but I want that on that second domain. But then I want that podcast on YouTube, like I said, Spotify, and so and so. So yeah, just working more with the wider marketing team.
I think exact match domain is going to be bigger and better, and more. It's like $12. You can build the authority from your existing domain. You don't have to go and do too much else, and you can rank for keywords. You can also use that to lower your cost per click, because the brand name is the domain name. I think that SEOs will. I think one of the things we'll learn from Geo is that there will be more and more SEOs who can code. I think SEOs who can ship code, SEO agencies that can use it to scale, will have much lower overhead, because like the agency model is broken, right? Where you got to repay the capital owners of the company. You've got to have, like, you know how people get stretched in the agency model. I think the agencies that can automate more will do better, and the same for in-house SEOs that can. And I think SEO will have to take ownership of PR, because I think there are some really good PR agencies, but there's a lot of PR that's like, oh, relevancy is more important, or they're trying to mask over the fact that they don't understand PageRank and topical authority. I think SEO needs to own it. And when SEO owns it, the benefits are better and it's easier to track. So those are my game changers.
Has your strategy changed? Wait, actually, I have two questions. I'd like you to talk more about EMDs. And we talked about this your first time on the show, but again, like your opinion on the API leak, how exact match domains were devalued. Like I want to hear your opinion on that again. And then, like, did your SEO strategy change at all in 2025?
I mean, apart from like throwing lots of listicles in for fun, I think the EMD is like, EMD hasn't changed. It's not an automatic, like where you just like sort of like buy Nike-shoes.com and you rank beside Nike, right? It's not that automatic, but the fundamentals are still there. I have lots and lots of EMD domains that with one or two links are getting hundreds and hundreds of clicks because they match a high volume search phrase.
Well, let me ask you this. This has been always my thought on exact match domains. It's like when you get an exact match domain, you just optimize the homepage specifically for the keyword. So you do everything that's correct. Like the keyword is in the page title, it's in the H1, it's at the beginning of the first sentence. So it's like without the exact match domain, would you still have gotten those? And then, you're getting, when you get a backlink, it's probably going to be the exact, but like, is it the exact match domain that's making you rank so well, or is it the optimization?
Given how little I've had to optimize them, I would say it's the exact match domain. So yeah, if you're going to go the branded domain and you're going to be like acmenootropics.com, right? And it's your domain name is acme.com, your branded relevance to your generic keyword is 0. But if you own mushroomnootropic.com and people say, oh, we spoke to Ed from mushroomnootropic.com, and then they link mushroom nootropic, it's actually reinforcing your generic search, and so you don't need as much. So yeah, I think it's the EMD part, or the keyword in the domain part. Definitely. I think it was a lot of brands built branded domains, but they ended up acquiring a lot of companies built on generic domains for growth and acquisition. With LLMs, it's not as confusing anymore. A lot of people are like, oh, now we have to maintain 2 domains. We've got content and it's confusing. It's not that confusing. But now you can definitely put content into EMDs and the LLM will make it look like they're talking about your same domain, right?
David, you might already know, but take a look at Rail Ninja. They own a lot of exact match domains, or close to domains as possible. So I don't know where the AI visibility is. I've not checked it, but I did see like Google's algorithm was kind of hitting them. But yeah, that's basically what you're talking about. They already did it, but they did it well before.
Are they redirecting it, or are they building them as satellite
so
sites?
they rank for something like portugaltrains.com. So for example, they own the domain, and then when you land on portugaltrains.com, when you press the get tickets and you book your train ticket, you get sent to Rail Ninja. But they own a bunch of other domains too, like Morocco Trains, some Australia, a bunch of countries that they own domains for. But it's just basically what you said, but they did it, a long time ago.
So we've been having like 10 years of success with it. But I'm not talking about buying hundreds of domains, right? I'm talking about buying your top most important keyword and co-ranking.
Caveat is a lot of exact match domains, they're not available, within a given industry.
Yeah, but there's, So there's a lot of, so first of all, Google's got much better at not worrying about like .co being for Colombia, or there's hyphenated words. I'm not, like I said, with LLMs, I don't think you have to be as particular about the domain name looking as pretty. And I also don't think it's like 100 domain names is the answer. I think that's overkill, right? What I mean is, if your company is a VPN if you're replacing VPN, then you should own vpnreplacement.com, right? And I'm talking about that instance. Yeah. If you're buying VPN replacement and you're spending $100,000 a month, and you can get a 60% pay-per-click decrease by owning vpnreplacement.com, you should own vpnreplacement.com. That's kind of what I mean.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. Like co-ranking, or there might be other terms for it too, but I think like I call it multi-domain strategy. That might be wrong, but I think going into next year, beyond that is going to be the best way, one of the best ways to, I think, own the search ecosystem.
In the synthesis, right? If you look at these are pattern recognition systems, so consensus is important. So if you've got 2 domains in the QFO, you've got a lot more to outweigh your competitors as well. So that's why I've moved from multi-domain strategy to co-ranking. It's like
how are you linking? So when you get these like EMDs, how are you linking to the main brand? Like what's the strategy for what does that actual page look like? Does it say like this is an affiliate of Acme? How do you do it?
It depends. Some cases like we mirror the design, and in some cases some of the subdomains are designed to look like they're completely different. And then
subdomains or
subdomains. I mean satellite domains. Sorry. In some cases, they look like they're impartial almost.
Wow.
I know a site doing that.
Oh.
I know a site doing that, and they got written up by the Better Business Bureau because someone else complained. I'll mention the name when we're offline. I can't mention the name, but Yeah, they got written up by
It's
the
not
Better
a new
Business Bureau.
strategy. It's not a new strategy for sure, for sure. And I think, anytime you're, using it to make it look like third-party content, right, or third-party evaluations, you're going to get in trouble. And again, like I said, for the most part, we see these as happening as co-ranking sites, right? So they're similarly branded. We also use them for collecting data about keywords, right? So basically, my working hypothesis of keyword research is that Google Ads only stores keyword data for keywords used in auctions, because every day so many keywords are new. And so the only way to get actual data is to peer over the horizon. In other words, to rank content and then see the keywords. So if you're looking at AI and not a lot of, especially companies that are engineer led or product led, they don't tend to believe in AdWords. And so if they're not buying ads and you're trying to rank for like, is it AI observability? Is it AI guidance? Is it AI guardrails, all of those different permutations, you kind of like have to go on a fishing exercise. And so sometimes it just makes sense to build a domain name to go after.
Is this so? Would you say, like, for people who want to do this, is this white hat, gray hat, a little bit
I think
darker?
it's white hat. I think it's white hat. Maybe it's a little dark around the corners. But you're not doing anything wrong, right? It's not cloaking or anything like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
I did something.
hence,
I did something once where we had like a financial news site that ranked pretty well, and then we wanted to start a fintech, and it was me and the same co-founder, and so we got a new URL for the fintech, and then we just, because the financial news site was ranking well and they were related, we made that the blog for the new fintech. And so we 3-1 redirected everything to the new URL. And then we put out a press release saying that our new fintech acquired the acquired the financial news site, even though we own both of them. And actually, and it got picked up, and the press release got picked up, and it got us links. It was crazy.
I love it.
Goggin, how about you?
Yeah, so I think I am trying to shift to more towards content plus backlinks strategy. Like before 2024, I used to not value backlinks much, but that was a point where my approach sort of like changed. So I am heavily focused on backlinks right now. And the goal for 2026 is to just publish more text content, ask clients to do more Instagram Reels, TikTok videos, and YouTube Shorts specifically. Use those videos, embed on the pages, and create more backlinks. That is my goal.
What changed? What made backlinks more important to you?
I feel like after the helpful content update, what I realized is that even if you're a really, really small site, but you have strong backlink profile, you still stand some chance of like not getting hit. So what I realized is that more the number of high quality backlinks you have, the lesser is the chance of you getting hit by any core update. So
So
even if you don't have that much like good content, or even if you're publishing like stupid content, really making a lot of mistakes in it, still if you manage to have high sort of like strong backlinks profile specifically from like large domains, your chances of getting hit by any core update reduces by like 50%.
so in a world where more and more people are saying PageRank matters less and less, backlinks matter less and less, I see this on Reddit. It's a raging argument. I'm really interested in hearing that you still think backlinks are so important. I think backlinks have never changed in importance.
Yeah. So
but
even
their
if I'm
application can get more
I
important.
feel like if I'm launching a new site right now, I will just get the content up, the pages up, do some CRO, make it look good for people, and I right away start building backlinks, and not like shit backlinks from like some PBN or some really small site. I mean like high quality backlinks. So if you can manage to get links from Forbes, CNN, that is great. But those are like the big names. Even if you can get links from like medium sized publishers who are not like that known, or but still they have good authority. Like in California, like there are so many publishers who just publish news about California. And if you're a business based in California, you should ideally try to get links from those sites compared to like getting links from Forbes or CNN.
I agree. I agree with you, Kurgan.
Yep.
I think what it comes down to is taking a look at the industry you're in. And I think I might be maybe it's my limited work, not, but yeah. So in the industry you're in, there's only a limited number of sites that actually have good SEO. So yes, Google has 100 results, ChatGPT has, hundreds of citations or whatever, but there's actually very few websites that are doing even I'd say 7 or 8 out of 10 job for SEO. I think knowing what you know about SEO, the importance of content, backlinks, PageRank, and all of that, it's not that difficult to become the best in the industry. And I think that's the way I've been approaching SEO for the past few years now. And I think I'm still going to approach it that way going into 2026 and beyond. Is that whoever I work with, whatever site I work on, I want it to be the best within that industry, because then I know they have the best possible chance of being at the top of the algorithm. And that's what you mentioned with backlinks. That just plays a simple part. Like it's obvious. Like if you're a California-based business, get those backlinks from other California news sites. Like in Vancouver, there's so many smaller news websites, 604 Now, 604 List, like all of these type of sites. Be in them. Like if you're a small company, if you've got a Christmas market, like get backlinks from those type of sites because they're relevant to what you do. Don't get backlinks from irrelevant websites because they're going to have much less of an impact. So yeah, I agree with what
Yeah.
you said.
And also, like, I work with many businesses who have like a .com structure, but they have country level subfolders for example, like .com slash UK for UK, .com slash AU for Australia. And even with those kind of the structures, what I've realized is that it's better to build country level backlinks for those subfolders. So if you have pages like .com slash AU, you should ideally try to get links to that subfolder from .com.au domains. And if you have a subfolder where it's .com/UK, you should try to get links to that subfolder from .co.uk domains. So more country level, even if you have good international SEO setup, but for the country level domains or the country level subfolders, you should try to get the regional domains linking to you more often compared to like just doing like it randomly.
Something Matt Cutt said in like 2006, I think. I think, Ed, we have the makings of a backlink podcast here.
Yeah. I think
top link building strategies.
Yeah, I think the advice has stayed the same. But what I've realized over the years is that these core updates are hitting these subfolders more often. So if you're a big brand, you have presence in like multiple countries, and you have subfolder level structure, you will lose all your ranking in UK, but all your rankings elsewhere stays the same. And what I've realized is that it's just that you don't have enough. You have brand presence. People search for your brand from UK, but you don't have enough authority via backlinks, page rank from those UK domains. So this is something that you need to think of.
You actually see that.
Go on.
I was going to say, yeah, you see that a lot when brands try and expand to an international market. So back in my supplement days, CBD was a big thing, and companies that took off in the US, they wanted to expand into the UK. But the companies that were successful in the US and they were publicly traded, they had so much difficulty building sites in the UK. They couldn't build on the .com because of regulation, so they had to build on a .co.uk. But when they went there, they just couldn't. They just didn't rank. They just failed. And like more local brands that actually that started in the UK, they overtook those brands, and then the whole CBD industry kind of died off. But we saw that play out, or I saw that play out in real life.
I wanted to ask, there was a lot of news about sites that were hit by the helpful content update rebounding this year, and I'm curious what all of you saw, and if you think that will continue.
I saw some sites and some site owners talk about a rebound, but it seems to be pretty small. But I don't think I have as much exposure to them.
Yeah, I've been seeing chatter on social media. I think some of the sites that I think complained the loudest maybe saw rebounds. I think there's a lot of websites owners that probably just gave up and they didn't see a rebound. I know a few site owners, they didn't really see a rebound. They saw some sections come back and some pages come back, but I know a guy, he sells Las Vegas related he's an affiliate for everything in Las Vegas hotels, shows, and stuff like that, attractions. He didn't see much of a rebound, but the site's great. Lots of expertise around Las Vegas, lots of knowledge around the city, but yeah, didn't see that rebound. I think the conspiracy in me, the sites that saw a rebound were probably adjusted, I think, manually.
Yeah. And also, like, whenever I mention HCO, I'll have to say that there were like two segments. 80% of the sites which were hit deserved to be hit, but there were 20% of the sites which did not deserve to get hit. They were still hit. And anything that I say here is about those 20%, not about the 80% that deserve to get hit. So the 20% that did not deserve to get hit, I feel like just like 3% of them have recovered to some extent, not like fully recovered, but the rest of the like 17% are still like they are completely dead. And many of even those guys have like stopped publishing new content. They have just like given up on the website, even though the domains are still live. So the main example that recovered fully was House Fresh. They do like these air purifiers reviews. They are based out of UK, and they created a lot of buzz. And via that buzz, they managed to land really high quality backlinks too. And I feel like it might be a manual adjustment, because out of like that 20%, only 3% recovered. Maybe there was some manual change from Google to make those the recovery happen for those 3%. Or it might also be possible that House Fresh ended up landing like so many high quality links that the page rank value sort of like lifted that HCU backlash that in the algorithms. So HCU was trying to suppress the ranking, but over time they ended up getting so much more page rank that the signals sort of outweighed and they ended up recovering. And then
Fresh is really interesting.
That again goes back to the backlink point, that you should try to get like high quality backlinks.
I also want to say
with House Fresh.
Go
on. So with
no, you can go ahead.
Okay, with House Fresh, you saw actually. So what was really interesting was they get hit by the helpful content update, and if you look at their traffic, it's just diagonal down to like 1,000 clicks a month. Where I don't remember what they were at, but it was like when they got out of it, it was the same diagonal up to the same exact point that they were before they got hit, and then they stagnated. It was still not a lot. They stagnated around this for a bit. They kept with the brand. They went on like a major, I think it was like a major podcast, and their episode got like 1.4 million views or something. They were still doing marketing. They were just focused on like other types of marketing. They got all of these links. And then I think they got up to like, it was like 4 times where they were before they were hit by the HCU. But like what it actually looked like, to me, it looked like a mix of manual intervention by Google, where they literally were taken out of that box. And then because they kept doing marketing, they went way higher than they ever were before. Sorry, Harpreet.
I was going to say, we mentioned the 80% of sites that deserve to get. I think that's a touchy topic because, especially for those site owners, what makes a site deserve to get hit? Because they did some of the stuff that, for example, HubSpot were doing. And HubSpot subfolder, for example, we talked about, it got hit. But these HCU affected sites, they were making content. They were making content through the traditional SEO playbook, and they were making money through ads. So I think the way that these sites got hit, I don't think they deserve to get hit. Now, House Fresh is unique because they actually do product reviews and they review physical products. But there's a lot of informational sites. Maybe their niche was quotes or recipes or different types of quotes, recipes, net worth, and stuff like that. The way they got
some were
hit,
terrible though.
Yes, the experience they provided.
There were some that were like, some were like covering like actors and actresses, right? And it was like it was like one line of information. It was like, this person is an actor, and it's like, you know.
But let me give you an example, like Times of India. Like, some of the Indian newspapers do the same thing. They're like, does actor X have a baby? And they have a page about that, and they just have like 200 words of garbage, but they're still ranking for that specific term.
I think like Indian, those publishers, their editorial is like criticized a lot by US based publishers, and even on X, like many SEOs, Lily Ray and many others, they post examples of like how Hindustan Times is ranking for certain news which happened in US, but they miss one point. I think of course, like India Times, Hindustan Times, and all these publishers publish shit content too, like one liner or two liner, but they create a page out of that. But sometimes their page are actually targeted for the broad audience. So let's say a big event happened in America, a big news where it is said that this company is going public, and that becomes a news. But many people in America, they don't know who the founder is, and they now want to know who that founder is. So there is certain search volume for people looking for that founder name and trying to figure out like who that person is. And US based publishers are not publishing those kind of the pages where founder name, biography, list the name, their experience, work history, but Hindustan Times does. So when that news happens, there are people searching for that person name, and Hindustan Times page is well created for that audience. And
I
even I have
wanna,
talked with like editorial teams of some of these people, and they are like, this is our exact strategy, that whenever any event is happening in US or UK, and there is certain search volume for just people looking for the names of people who are mentioned in that news or what that news is about. So it is better to create like a biography style page at that moment to get traffic from like top stories and Google News and from Google Discover as well.
then that goes back to the point where they're being rewarded for the keyword-led SEO, but a bunch of these
Yep.
sites got dinged for doing the same thing. And I think when HCU happened, again, I'm not entirely into the weeds, but I know there were like conference talks and stuff like that where people were saying some of the sites that got HCU'd were over optimized for SEO in terms of the types of pages they had with their keywords, the number of, I think someone even posted a study of sites that had more internal links were more likely to be hit by a HCU than others. So there's those theories where sites that did SEO got hit, but then we have a lot of these much bigger sites that are doing the same thing, but they didn't kind of get cleaned up out of Google's results. So I think HCU is just a touchy topic where, of course, some sites didn't provide the greatest experience, but did they deserve to get wiped out of Google completely? Probably not. I would
I think the
say.
majority of the one were affiliates, and on the pages there were clear signs they don't actually own the product. So many sites were
Yeah,
writing like product name review, product name review. All their pages were just like product name review, product name review, product name review. But if you go to those pages, there is no clear sign of like actual ownership of the product. They were
100%.
just using the stock photos of the products, and they were just like saying things about the product. But Google want to see like some proof. Even I, as a user, want to see some proof like, oh, you actually own the product, you are sitting with it, or you
100%.
have this microphone just like this, rather than you just writing a review of it, like. And a
I
lot of affiliates who are this big in like these Thailand circles, like there are many like affiliate SEO conferences in Thailand. Many people from US and all over the world like come there. That was a strategy which people were like teaching in those conferences, where they were saying that you can just like spin up a website, just start, go with this structure, and you can rank. But there were not actual ownership of the product. There was not actual like proof that you experienced something and then you wrote a page about it. I think those were the site deserve to get hit, because though that is not like a great content piece for someone who is actually like trying to make a 300 or $400 product sort of like purchase, but your review is showing up without any sort of like proof of you actually owning that product.
I agree.
Yeah, it's like Point Guy. He didn't get hit, right?
Forbes.
What?
Actually, it's
The
it's
Points
gonna.
Guy. He
The
he
points
didn't
guy.
get hit, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I got an example from Forbes because this is like I know this example because it's like personal. So CBD boom, Forbes were not reviewing the best CBD gummies articles and like all of that. Like they weren't reviewing all the brands in there because I wanted to get the brand I was working with into their affiliate list. And yeah, they didn't want any. They didn't want that to happen. But then they included our brand without actually testing our product, even though they said it's like been third. Even though they said they tested it themselves. There was another list, Discover Magazine. First, he quoted me a price to get us into their list, but then after other brands, he's like quoted as a much higher price. So even these like really big review sites that we see, they're not reviewing every product. But I think that's just a big ecosystem problem. I think the game's the game, and you got to figure out a way to play it. But I think even the review sites that are left, they're not reviewing the products. I have emails and I've got receipts of that. And I think Forbes back in 2020, 2021, especially their health department was a big abuser of this. I even called out the guy, one of their SEO guys on Twitter. Like we have a whole conversation where I sent him the screenshot. And about a year after, I think, was HCU. So yeah, when we say some of these sites deserve to get hit, 100%, but their sites doing that right now. They're not reviewing the products, but they're still listing them on their site.
I have a question. If so there were like all these sites that were hit by the HCU that didn't, or they thought they were playing by the rules. They thought what they were doing was white hat. They thought what they were doing was fine. If there was something else like the HCU in 2026, what would it hit for like people who think that they're playing by the rules? Like what would it hit?
Listicles. Get the listicles out of the search results and rank product pages based on some of the other stuff we talked about, like authority, mentions in the media, actual reputation. So of course reviews can be gained, but every brand has somewhat of a reputation within its niche. It's difficult to actually put a score to it, but there's better ways to rank for best CRM software. There's better results people can see rather than a listicle. But unfortunately, again, as we talked about, I think the listicles are going to be devalued, but they're going to be replaced with videos. And that's still the same problem, right? Because now it's a race to who can create the most videos the fastest.
Yeah. Well, it'll also be the most engaging. Because like if someone's putting out a ton of videos where someone goes onto the video and watches 5 seconds and is like, no, this is garbage. Like, or even 30 seconds and this is garbage. Like that channel is not going to continue to show.
Yeah, that 100%. But then after that, how does, what's the HCU? So let's say the listicles are gone, the videos are gone. Google needs to figure out a way to actually rank the brands that deserve to be ranked on page one.
There's definitely a play to be made for affiliates who don't actually get. But then again, if you have a video and you're rating different products, it's going to be expected that you are showing yourself with the products.
You can't for B2B. So you can in like physical e-commerce, but B2B you can't. So what I'm seeing right now.
That's not true. I mean, like with software, like if you're showing yourself on a free account and saying that you reviewed a premium account, like of some SaaS, that's like very sus.
So it's the ones I'm seeing, and I can't mention this, but like after the call, I can show you an example and maybe you can mention it on another video. But yeah, they're literally loading up the website of each brand. And they're just talking about the company. They're like, oh, this company has this AI feature. This company does this company does that. And the reviewer is literally, he's just opening up Google Chrome and he's whipping up the websites and he's making a listicle that way. But obviously that doesn't provide the value.
You make a point because, well, at the end of the day, if the content is engaging, if like people who are looking for this are continuing to watch the video, that channel is not going to get hit. I agree with that.
Yeah, so it's tricky, but I'd say if there's a HCU type event in 2026, I think listicles are at the top to get hit.
I think second thing will be some parts of Reddit. If there is another HCU in 2026 or something like that, algorithm update, parts of Reddit which don't deserve to rank are ranking right now, and I think Google is going to hit them. And some of the subreddits also deserve to get hit.
I believe Quora is already being affected. Again, I saw a post from Lily yesterday, and she saw Quora was going down.
Quora is losing because of this December core update, which is rolling out right now.
It's so full of spam. I spent a lot of time on Quora, and it's so full of spam. It's so easily spammed. I'm delighted to see it. It's so easily influenced by external data and bot data, and they do very, very little to protect themselves against it. I think it's almost like they've adjusted the model to encourage the spam and to reward the spam, if that makes sense. My own 2 cents.
Are there any user-generated content platforms that you think will get boosted a lot in 2026? Like, do you think like X, for example, will win or lose, or TikTok, or even like Threads? I've been seeing Threads rankings go up and up.
Instagram.
I don't. I think Instagram.
Yeah, just because I know that you could always actually rank Instagram pages, but I think for some keywords like New York personal injury lawyer, there's someone with the exact Instagram handle. So kind of going into what you were talking about with exact match domains, but they have the exact Instagram handle, and they were ranking on page 1 for that keyword. I think it was New York personal injury attorney. I think that was the exact keyword that they were ranking for. But yeah, I think Instagram, we're going to see more Instagram in like get boosted, and maybe TikTok too, just based on my own experience of like certain keywords ranking.
Guys, this has been a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
It's been 2 hours of this has been so much fun. I think this is a great holiday episode.
Christmas came early.
Yeah. Merry Christmas
That's
to
what it is.
everyone.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I hope we can do. Honestly, I hope we can do more of these soon. Like even like there's just some SEO news. Like let's schedule an episode. The 4 of us talk about the SEO news. Like I like the banter. This was just good times.
I think there could be some great ideas from the team here in terms of like building backlinks, which, clearly it's an important thing to do. Clearly, again, it comes down to your own background, your website's DNA, right? It's topical authority, it's backlinks, it's history. A lot of people are like, backlinks don't matter anymore. And a lot of people like I respect on X say that, right? And I'm like, you work at a domain with like a shit ton of domains. Of course, you never have to worry about it. But I think there could be a lot of ideas from this group here about what newbies can do to build backlinks, right? And giving some advice to that. I'd love to come back for that.
Yeah, we should do an episode. I love like really one of my favorite things in SEO is creative backlink strategies. Like not like standard guest posts. It's like how did you do some like crazy social engineering, or like what super interesting linkable asset did you make where you just acquired like a ridiculous amount of backlinks? Like I personally love things like that. It's so interesting.
Yeah. And also, I think a lot of marketers in general, like whenever there is any term, they think of it as in the lower end. Like, for example, if someone is saying that you should buy backlinks, the first thing that they think of is like, oh, shitty backlinks. That is not what we mean. Like, whenever we are saying that you need to focus on like building backlinks, we are not saying that. You have to focus on at least like mid to high tier backlink. That is what you should target to build. And same go with content strategy. Like when we say that you need to build like middle and the bottom of the funnel content, we are not saying that you need to build shitty or lower end of the content structure. You need to focus on the quality, and it should at least be of a certain standard. It's not like doing any bottom of funnel content will work for you. You will have to figure out the right strategy and make sure that it is aligned with your business and what you want to achieve, rather than just like going with the term. And that is a problem with a lot of marketers right now. And I feel like it comes from the corporate structure where you are trying to build some political advantage to your side, where if you're mentioning like GEO, AI SEO, AEO, you can get some sort of like a kind of like a pat on the back from your higher ups in the management teams. But the reality is that it is always more granular compared to any term that is out there. So think more in terms of like how you can actually do the implementation and make it faster, try to do high quality work, and don't focus too much on just the terms.
And I think, to be fair, it's always been like that. Like every year in SEO, I think, remember, like information gain, I think I don't know if we covered it here, but yeah, information gain was a big buzzword. I feel every year there's just new buzzwords in SEO, and the higher ups, they want to see whether you're on top of them or not. But like, if you're in the weeds, you kind of already are on top of the stuff that they're talking about. And like their point of view is it's not a great point of view, because we're already on top of it. So yeah.
All right, everyone. That's all for the show. Happy holidays. This is episode 903 of the Edward Show. 903 days in a row doing this podcast. Thanks again to Harpreet, Gagan and David, all previous guests of the show, and I can't wait to do more episodes with all of you. For everybody who watched this, thank you for watching. For everybody who listened, thank you for listening. And I will talk to you again tomorrow. Bye now.